So this is Steve, and I'm here with Therese Brown, Allen County Commissioner Therese Brown, 2nd District.
Yes, sir.
And you're up for re-election.
Yes, sir.
Kind of a shoo-in at this point,
Yes,
unopposed in November. For those who maybe don't know you, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I'm Therese Brown, Allen County Commissioner, as you stated. I have at this stage, say lifelong resident of Fort Wayne. I moved back here with my family back in 1974 and graduated from Bishop Dwenger High School. I have a degree at Indiana Wesleyan University in business management with a minor in administration. I have 2 sons, Jason and Matthew. We live in rural Allen County currently, not annexed by anybody as yet, but we have, again, 30 plus years, 35 plus years, living pretty much outside the outskirts and being in the county. I have worked for county government since 1978. I started in the treasurer's office, clerical, and moved then to the auditor's office, clerical as well, working through the finance division and becoming chief deputy auditor under Linda Bloom in 1992, late 1991. Ran for auditor in 1994, won, and served 2 consecutive terms as auditor, leaving that office in 2002 to become then the clerk of the Allen Circuit and Superior Court. I was the clerk of the court from 2003 to 2010 and was successful in the 2010 primary and November election, and then took office as Allen County Commissioner of the 2nd District in 2011. So I've completed almost completed now my first term, and as you stated, ran for re-election, was unopposed in both the primary and the general election, and am obviously seated for the next 4 years. It's been an interesting experience being in government. It's been a lifelong thing that a subject that I've always been interested in. Political science, not necessarily, but just the interaction and process, if you will, that the government takes in actually getting things done and getting the product, if you will, that we put out completed. History was always a subject matter that I always was engaged. My mother was a massive history buff, from the early on, obviously Washington, Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, and John Adams, and that realm. And so we heard a lot about that growing up, and probably one of your few viewers who would remember Watergate, but my father had us sit and watch the Watergate hearing. So one way or the other, I came to the conclusion that government was somehow going to be something I was going to be doing. So putting it into action and actually having then a job in government and getting into the nuances was a good training ground to then becoming an elected official. But it's been an entertaining time. There's always something that's going on, something that's coming up that is either good, bad, positive, negative, has an impact to the community, and it's a great feeling to be able to have the ability to make effectual change and be a part of something and not being on the sidelines. So that's kind of Therese Brown, trying to be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Anything that you've felt proud of, any accomplishments in this first term? Being first term, the first year or two was definitely a learning curve, though I did have at least the ability to hit the ground running on a lot of different things. Honestly, the involvement and being on the ground floor of the creation of the Greater Fort Wayne Inc., seeing that there were a lot of loose edges that were happening there with the chamber. I mean that's their bailiwick, business, if you will. But how economic development was being or not being dealt with between the county, the city, the alliance, chamber, and getting something pulled together, getting all these individuals together to say that model that we have had for 10, 12 years, it's not working. And we need to not only put a model out there, which was done, but we also need to nurture that model and have the right people in the game from the community, from government, and and really start making effectual change to that model so that it can constantly be rolling forward and not becoming stagnant. That was really kind of one of the neatest things to be part of, that, you know, challenging, I guess you will, if you could say, the status quo, that it's, well, because that's the way it is and that's how it needs to be, and really investing our public dollars appropriately versus because we just need to pay a contract and they, you know, pick and choose what they want to do. Really being a player in that. That was really, really, really cool. That, and, you know, landing a lot of the different things that have happened in Fort Wayne, you know, having Fort Wayne and Allen County, I mean, BAE Systems coming in and being a partner with having them, you know, stay in Allen County, having, you know, the expansion again of some things out of GM, having Steel Dynamics come in and build their plant outside of New Haven. That was truly, truly special. And, you know, granted at the tail end, but having Maple Crest Road finally open, you know. So you be prepared that there's going to be other things. You know, we're kind of looking at West County Line Road from 24 all the way up to 30, hoping that maybe manna from heaven will come from the state like it did between 69 and you know, Lafayette Center over to 24 to Roanoke. You know, we're going to be widening that with, you know, Huntington County and working through them. And hopefully you'll start to see some of those kind of things happen. But those are kind of the neat things that when you're, you know, at the ground level working with it and seeing it to, you know, completion, it's rather gratifying to see something positive like that happen.
Sure. One of the words that I've heard you use quite a bit today is collaboration.
Yes, sir.
And that was a skill I think that you talked about learning at the clerk's office. And talk to me about the importance of that as a skill for a commissioner.
I can't even describe how important it is. No one gets anything done without the assistance of someone else, no matter if it's higher than you, at your same level, or beneath you. Not beneath you in a bad way, of course, but, you know, people make things happen. And if you can't express the vision, if you can't get the buy-in for whatever that idea and get it to the drawing board, to then get it to the next step where it's gaining legs, to then it becoming a reality, nothing will change and nothing will be improved. Collaboration falls into making sure that those individuals that are going to be affected by it or have to implement it understand it and are going to champion it, and they need to be as engaged in the process as possible. And if you're not collaborating with people to get the right nuances together, nothing's going to happen. And it just becomes, I don't want to say status quo, but everything starts to get stagnant and everybody's running in a silo. And, you know, you can add tax caps to that equation. If we don't communicate or we don't engage each other, we're just going to be hurting each other, and one might win, one will lose, or however the mechanism, because of the lack of resources internally, but ultimately the constituent loses. So we have to be pulled together a little bit better to make sure that we're getting things done, and collaboration is the only way that happens.
Any eye-opening revelations for you resulting from your first term?
You know, and this could kind of go back to the single county exec. Having been a single office holder over a department has its advantages. Yes, you can make things move and shake and all that, but I think it depends on the position and the functions that position has under their bailiwick statutorily. So, you know, you've got tasks, you have deadlines, you have things that need to be done, you have initiatives that you can put out there and meet that objective, you know, eventually, again, assuming between all the regulatory things and statutory things that you can actually get there. In this, more than anything, and position, really having to learn the art of negotiation and trying to convince someone of your, not only your position, but why you think something is the best way to go, has been very educational, and it's been very helpful for me. I got a bit of that when I was in the clerk's office as clerk of the court, because you had 9 Superior Court judges and 1 Circuit Court judge. And you have different divisions within the court, and getting buy-in for an idea or a practice, or how you have to go up the chain of command to the state courts administration, to get buy-in, to engage the right people, was at least a starting ground. But then getting over here, it's a lot more external, a lot more individuals locally versus governmentally, and trying to express yourself in a way that gets not only the point across to whomever you're trying to either convince, or at least convey why you took a position on a certain thing, the way it played out, and that had been that's been eye-opening. I mean, early on, I've gotten a little bit better at it, but that's really more than anything, because again, I've been with the government. I'm here to help, remember that. I've been with the government for 36 years, and when you know a lot of people within the system, you know who to go to, it helps and makes it a lot easier to take it that next step. But yeah, learning collaboration a little bit differently than just within a single employer type scenario has been very helpful.
What do you think are going to be the top issues coming into the next 4 years for you?
Well, criminal sentencing reform is probably one of the biggest. We've tried very hard to garner as much information as we can relative to not only what the perceived effect is, to also engaging the court on statistics of, you can't guarantee a crime's going to happen, but yet then again, statistically, what are the types of crimes and programs that they may have had individuals assigned to, that then would say once they've exhausted all those, then they go to jail, or they, work release, or whatever. They stay local. We've been gaining a lot of that information, and then just trying to feel out, what does that mean? Does that mean that will we be able to purchase another parcel that has a facility on it to be able to maneuver some of our work release attendees into better accommodations, and move more that are eligible out of the jail into that, and kind of have a more robust environment, minimum security as we currently do, but in a better condition, if you will, to open up beds in the jail, and then to get to the next step, and that is, do we end up needing to add on to the jail, the 4th floor needing to be completed. So that's kind of like one of those urgent, but trying to be paced and seeing how this plays out with the Department of Corrections, etc. And then home detention and community corrections is also part of that. So trying to wrap our mind around that. So that's one of the really big hot subjects. Byron Health, Recovery Inc., that parcel may be doing some radical changes here in the near future. We just signed a lease with them, an updated lease from 1994. It's been a while. And so we got that all taken care of finally. And they will be looking to build. And they are interested in the north parcel, portion of the north part of the parcel on Carroll and Highway 3. And so there could be some things happening there pretty soon. We're obviously looking at Stonebridge, hoping that with all the infrastructure improvements, that there could be some things that might get us out of having that acreage and being able to, dive into getting things taken care of with a couple of our other sites that we have, that being Ryan Bruick, Dawkins Road, and Bluffton Pleasant Center over in that area. So trying to work within the confines of a lot of different little things here and there, but other than that, those are like the top, trying to plow some money into some more roads and getting some things cleaned up in some of our unincorporated subdivisions. So So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Who knows what tomorrow will bring?
Okay. Well, anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I
kinda hit quite a few
appreciate
different
us
things.
being able to get together and chit chat. It's always been a pleasure. So I have nothing more to add. So anytime, let me know and we'll sit down again.
Therese, we appreciate your time.
Not a problem, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.